Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm Petter, and this is James.
Hey, I'm not sick anymore.
Lovely. And today we are talking about Volume 9 of A Bride's Story. The volume started off with a chapter telling the stories of various living things. Just a
Yeah.
sweet little chapter that I'm sure we'll touch on at least to some extent later. Pariya and Umar begin to solve some of their misunderstandings, and Kamala's neighbors got new kittens.
Aw.
Karluk starts learning archery, and Pariya and Umar end up going on an errand together. Their errand is momentarily interrupted by in my opinion, brilliant little board game chapter, and then it continues with Pariya and Umar helping a woman who collapsed on the side of the road. On their way back, some pretty big developments between the two occur. Not only the wagon breaking down, but we actually get some feelings laid bare, as well as a kiss.
Ooh, steamy.
When Pariya and Umar were back home a bit later, their fathers officially announced that Pariya and Umar are now indeed engaged to be married, for real. Pariya made some more friends who offered to help her with her embroidery, which is lovely, and she made a hat for Umar. And then Pariya and her friends finally got to visit those little kittens that were mentioned in the beginning of the volume, and Pariya receives one of the kittens, and the volume ends with Pariya and Umar on a rooftop making plans for their future together.
I want to applaud for Morty for this chapter because
Yeah.
not chapter, this volume. It's just
Uh-huh.
everything that a Pariya fan would have wanted. Because not only does it have these confessions being made bare, Pariya growing as a person,
Mm-hmm.
and you know learning to open up to other people, and all these misunderstandings are melted away. Not only that, but at the very end, she says, "And I could have a bakery, and I could bake things, and
Mm-hmm.
that'd be awesome."
Yeah.
And that's what I've wanted from the very
Yes.
beginning. For
Yes.
someone to say, "Oh my gosh, you have great talents. We're going to use them," and
Right.
and they're just the cutest couple. I
Mm-hmm.
think they're probably my favorite couple. Amir and Karluk are pretty great, but they have the age gap. So I I think it's them. They're Pariya and Umar are my favorite couple. They're great together.
They really are, and I agree with everything you said. I think this was, and I think this was also such a feel good volume through and through, and I really
Yes.
loved it for that. And yeah, it's easily become one of my new favorite volumes of the series so far. And and yeah, they are so cute together. I squealed so many times from how adorable they are.
Yes. Ah, it's so good.
Ah, yeah, I love it. I love it. And yeah, I can't wait to talk about these characters more in depth. So yeah, let's do it. Starting with Pariya Tokonosh. She begins to teach Kamola to bake more kinds of bread. We don't get to see it much, but I think it's implied that she starts to teach her some baking.
Yeah. At least she asked for it to be taught.
Yeah, and Pariya
Yeah.
seemed happy to teach.
Right.
And when Pariya was struggling with how to respond to Umar in one of the earlier scenes they had together, she was inspired by Kamola's words about there being many different ways to convey your feelings. And so Pariya
Yeah.
very beautifully conveyed her feelings for Umar through her bread. And I love that very much.
Fantastic touch. Going into the meaning behind the imagery in the bread.
Hmm.
Just love it.
Oh, yeah.
Because to an outsider, you just look at the patterns like, oh, those are nice patterns, very nice patterns.
Right.
But maybe you don't take into consideration what they were trying to convey in their patterns. And Paria being a very talented and thoughtful person, I think obviously has always has purpose in the patterns she's doing, and
Yeah,
I think it's yeah, very nice to have that.
for sure. Yeah, bread is like really her
Her
number one skill,
canvas.
and for sure, yeah, like she is so skilled with that and knowledgeable and talented. Yeah.
Also, in that same chapter, before I think it's before she gets to the bread, you kind of have this misunderstanding that occurs, and I just wanted to just point out the hilarious moment where in her mind she's like running to her master, which is Grandma Aho, and he's like, "Master, please help me. What do I do?"
Yeah.
I thought that was such a great moment, just to almost like a cutaway, just to funny cutaway. It's
For
just great.
sure. There were a lot of great like parts that we got that that took place within Paria's head in this volume. Like
That's
a lot
true.
of funny little things. Another one of those was when Paria imagines herself as a boy. I thought that was pretty great too.
uh,
Want to go see the water wheel, buddy?
just had to think of all possibilities on talking to him. Nothing's off the table.
Yeah. Sorry, Shino is having the zoomies currently, so just in
I
case
love
there's
it.
some noise in the background,
She's so
you
cute.
know why. You know what it is.
She knows that there's a cute cat in the book, you know?
Right,
Different
exactly,
breed.
that's it.
Um, but if I can get married to him, it'll be even better. Basically, she's saying that,
Yeah.
I, my life would be great if I can get married, but if I can get married to him, it'd be even better. It's like, oh, that was
Hmm.
such a great line and such a great moment of, you know, just relief almost that these two are gonna be okay, and
Right?
it's it's great.
It's so romantic, and I love, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
love it very much. And we learned that apparently Paria eats twice as much as other girls might eat. Uh, and so I wonder now how she compares to Shireen. I believe
Right.
Shireen might still eat more than Paria.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait till you see Shireen. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's packing it down. Um, and yeah, and Parias doesn't seem that, if at all, big. Like,
No.
she seems somewhat. I mean, strong.
True,
Definitely strong.
for sure.
But I mean, so I guess I can't call her petite, but you know, she's not overweight, I don't think. But then again, it's a manga. And I guess that's not. But I think usually, I think Mori would try to predict that no matter what. And also,
Yeah.
you have all these baggy, heavy clothes, and it's maybe some of that. But
She could also
regardless,
just have a really high metabolism and then it just burns through those
yeah,
calories automatically really quickly.
yeah. I mean, it's got to go somewhere, and it must be going to her muscles because I mean, she was showing it off this volume. It was great.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Paria was sent to fetch these leaves that they use for their eyebrows. And luckily for her, she didn't have to go alone. In fact, she got to go with possibly her favorite person in the world.
The
So
person
that
she was trying to get alone with.
precisely, so that worked out really well.
Hmm. That trip was it did start off awkward. They were,
Very.
I think both of them were just trying to get a feel for each other in a way. Well, I mean, Putty was just trying to say anything, just get over her nerves.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm sure Umar was, you know, wondering what would be the right thing to say.
For sure.
But I love how the singing the songs was what's kind of opened the gate a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Oh, yeah.
Release the tensions, just not tensions, but just let it be less awkward, and then things spiraled from there.
Right. I mean,
In a good way.
definitely right, because I mean there was so much awkwardness on the way out, like not just
Yeah.
the attempt at conversation, but also like Paria's extremely strained face expression that she had at that one part, for example. um but yeah, as you said, the way back things turned around for the better, for sure.
Hmm.
And like the last song that she sang, or like that second song that she sang, seemed very much like a marriage song of sorts.
Oh yes,
So I thought it was
absolutely.
very brave of her to sing that for him.
Yeah, it's funny how having a normal conversation was difficult for her with him.
Mm,
Um, but singing the song, even though she was a little embarrassed to do it, she was able to get through almost two songs relatively well. I mean, I don't know
yeah,
how well she sang, but obviously Umar didn't care. I think he enjoyed it, had
yeah,
fun with it.
for sure.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's interesting how comfortable she was with singing it rather than saying it.
Precisely. The power of song.
Yeah.
But yeah, then of course came the I guess more dramatic part with the woman who collapsed and Puri and Umar having to spend the night in that little settlement or whatever village place.
Hmm.
And I feel like it was around there that things really started turning around for her. Like the singing part was maybe a part of it earlier on, but I think it was around this night that things really took a turn for the better for Pariya and I guess for their relationship as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think at night when they talked, I think Pariya seemed to keep her cool very very well during that scene.
True.
And the day after, when they were in front of the water wheel, she took the necessary step to really make sure what Umar was well to make sure that he was willing to wait for her, and I think that was huge for her.
Yeah, I mean, it still took her a lot of guts to get it out. Like she was still stumbling, but she did say it, and yeah, that was good. I don't think she would have said it, the day before.
Right, and she really pushed him as well. Like she was willing to push him to give
That's true.
uh, an answer that was genuine.
Well, I also think that she was trying to be considerate, and you can tell me no if you want to, or
Yeah, I mean, right.
something like that.
Hmm.
So, but I mean, good thing for her. Like he he's very committed.
Oh yes.
Very.
Yeah,
Uh, take responsibility for that one.
indeed. But yeah, I guess after they got back home, there were a couple of pages that showed their silent communication through the window.
I
And I
love
thought that was
that.
super cute, and I
So
really
cute.
enjoyed watching that, especially like toward the end, like how Umar carved the face into the apple, and Pariya really adored that.
Yeah. uh,
So
he's got
sweet.
a good sense of humor, and I think she can share in that sense of humor as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've had too many opportunities to see that from Pariya. Um, so it'd be really cool to see them like cracking jokes with each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always find if you're cracking jokes with someone, you're comfortable with them.
Oh yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so I feel like that'd be a great thing to see. But yeah, I agree. I think the flirting through the window was just so cute.
Yeah.
Peak youth.
Right. And through Kamola, Pariya got some new friends. Um,
Yeah.
and these are friends that she can bond over various things with, friends who are dying to know about her love life or whatever you want to call it. Plus, they are friends who will help Pariya with her big embroidery task. So that is very sweet of them.
Absolutely.
And I liked how there was the part after Umar kissed Pariya. In her kind of dazed mind, she thought, this world is so kind. No, it's Umar who's kind. And then, after her new friends offered to help with the embroidery, she thought to herself, everyone's so nice. And so I don't know, I sort of saw a connection between those two different instances of her thinking. Um, and I guess my takeaway from it is that Paria's outlook on life and on people, I guess, in general, and like the people around her, has gotten a lot more positive than it's been before. And I really love to see that development for her.
Oh yes. If I remember correctly, the previous volume, maybe not right at the first Padia chapter, but there was a section where she basically says the world is cruel, or life's unfair, or something like that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
Right.
kind of lamenting everything that was happening, with her home being destroyed, all her embroidery gone, and not being able to get married quickly, things like that. Um, but this is definitely, like you said, a 180 approach to looking at life more positive. I mean, things are going up.
Yeah.
And I think that's why she said the world is kind at that point. But obviously, it's Umar who's kind, and you could say she's lucky. You can say that they were destined to be together. But either way, she's just in the best possible situation for herself right now, and with a future husband that will support her no matter what, and
Mhm.
then a friend group who is finally willing to get to know her and understand who she is.
Yeah. So nice.
Hmm.
I'm so happy for this fictional character.
I know.
Uh,
I wish I could be as happy for myself as I am for her.
no.
Uh, so I'm curious what she'll name the cat. The cat's very cute.
Oh yeah.
They immediately the cat immediately steals the heart of her family.
Which is very realistic. I think a lot of cats have that
Yeah,
tendency.
yeah.
Yeah. Pariya was inspired by Amir to make a hat for her boy,
Oh yes.
and I thought that led to a very romantic little scene by the pond under the willow tree.
I mean, a little risque,
Yeah.
taking off his hat like that. Oof, oof,
Oof, my goodness.
oof. Boy, calm down now. Got a few more years.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all for me on Pariya.
I just I already mentioned it, but I have to mention it again. The She promises to bake bread for Umar's future inn, and
Mm,
I it's all I wanted. It's all I've ever wanted. Her to use her skill, and it's just great.
yeah,
And I'm so glad that Morty was leading up to this eventually, and that um we get to see this person who normally maybe wouldn't have that opportunity, but has a very special one right now.
for sure. Yeah, it's satisfying.
Yes.
Then let's move on to Umar. We learn that he is an only child, that his mother died when he was little, very little, and that he
Yeah.
grew up with his father and being around his cousins and aunts and uncles and stuff like that, I assume.
Hmm.
We also learn that Umar can tell when it's going to rain just by looking at the sky, and that he likes to
Yeah.
watch water wheels.
Water wheels. Would it be okay if we were to kiss near the water wheel? Maybe
Ooh.
that was his like not his plan all along, but a dream of his
Right,
to just it's such a romantic moment.
for sure. I wouldn't be surprised. And yeah, and as we also we touched on the caravansary. I don't know how to pronounce that. I've never heard that word in my life before.
Yeah, no, neither have
Um,
I. It's
but
kind of middle East Asian type thing.
yeah, I also I there's a Wikipedia page for it, and the Wikipedia page is called caravanserai. It's spelled differently,
Oh,
but it says
interesting.
in the opening line it says a caravanserai or caravansary was a roadside inn where travelers could rest and recover from their day's journey. So I guess there's two different words or variations on the word.
Oh, so they run a Airbnb
I guess
or
sort
a hostel.
of.
Um,
Yeah.
no, I mean this sounds like a great dream, and I could see having grown up with that and all the skills he learned.
Yeah,
I think he
exactly.
places high value in that, and yeah, I mean, oh gosh, I mean, we've talked about time skips. Seeing what happens in the future. I'd love to see that. Show it to me.
Oh
Like,
yes. Yeah,
show
yeah.
me what their life is like in the future, please.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, can't wait.
I don't know if we'll actually ever see it, to be honest, but
Well,
uh, I'm very happy that
well,
they have that, or he has that dream and he wants to share that with his wife.
right. It would be nice to see it, but I agree. Like even if we don't see it, it's still nice to just know that they share this dream together. Um, it's nice in and of itself.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, this poor guy at the or well early on in the volume, he was under the impression that Pariya didn't like him. Um, even though yeah, she was just being bashful, and I guess he interpreted that as her not liking him.
Yeah, I was curious how he took the whole uh, irrigation chapter where she was, hard at work and then she kind of froze up when she saw him.
Yeah, right.
Um, I was curious like how he's going to take that because I thought he was just going to focus on, the part where she was hard at work. But I guess I don't know, maybe kind of hurt him that he sees her like that, all full of energy, and then suddenly changes when when they're together or whatever. So I'm glad that
Precisely.
misunderstanding was cleared up in a very cute way. But he seemed rather relieved. He's like, oh, good.
Oh yeah.
I didn't do anything. I'm good.
Right. But I also really admire his willingness to, to talk it over and to potentially change something about himself if there is anything that he can do about it.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about
Like
that.
I
Yeah.
really appreciate that side of him.
Yeah.
And he genuinely really likes her, like then like that lively side of her. He really seems
Right.
to enjoy. And I think it's partially because I think he and his father view that as a strong constitution kind of thing, which is a
Yeah.
good sign. But I think it's also in general. I think he appreciates that personality in her.
Like, bless his dad's intuition.
Yeah.
Just without that, this wouldn't have happened.
Right.
But I don't. I think certainly that he had been interested in her, and obviously wanted to know if he had done anything wrong. But I get the feeling that he didn't really start any strong feelings for her per se. Not it was any indifference, more maybe just a like or a curiosity or things like that. Just kind of
Mm.
you know a limited interest. But it wasn't until they went on that trip and when they were breaking the ice and had the songs and I guess showed more of each other while in the heat of the moment, whether it be helping the class weapon or fixing the cart. I mean, particularly the cart, where she was like showing how much vitality she has. Uh, it made an impression, and you could tell that at that moment, I feel like he was pretty struck. Now I can't remember, was that before or after the kissing? I can't,
um,
or the kiss scene, I should say.
the repairing the wagon was shortly after the kiss.
No, you're right. So he did that at least.
Yeah.
So I guess obviously there must have been something there beforehand.
Right. Yeah, like I think you're right. Like, and I think it's rare that you will have super strong feelings that early on, or like without having really interacted much. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously, yeah, there was a type of interest for sure, though. Like he wanted to take her there, or to go on this errand with her. He took that initiative all on his own, so that was very nice.
Yes.
And then he was geeking out about the water wheel. I thought that was fun to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Pariya really enjoyed seeing him geek out like that as well.
That's all she ever wanted. I like how he was saying he wants to build his own water wheel, and he had all these ideas of what to do with you know, the movement and things like that.
Right.
That was great to see, and I totally expect them to have one at their caravansary,
For sure.
and
Uh-huh.
yeah, and I'm sure they'll have plenty more kissing moments underneath the water wheel.
Every time they walk past it, they got a kiss.
That could be a kind of a cute thing. Although maybe Pariya would be like, I'm over this.
Right. Oh, again.
I mean, he really is perfect for her because he accepts everything about her, and there's really
Yeah.
nothing that he's put off by,
Right. Yeah.
which is something that Pari was very worried. Maybe from experience and how she, you know, treated other potential suitors, I guess. But no, in Umar's case, he's okay with everything, if not thrilled by everything
Right.
that Pari is.
Yes, I think he was very positively impressed by Pariya, especially during
Yeah.
the repairing the wagon thing
Oh yeah.
part.
Oh yeah.
Um, so that was
That
really
one
nice
was
to
like,
see.
oh my gosh, I hit the jackpot.
Exactly.
I mean, they're both going jackpot.
For sure. And I also loved like just seeing Pariya be able to be herself, or like be comfortable enough with him
Yes,
to be herself
yes,
during that scene was beautiful, and how
yes.
he obviously loves to see her be herself. It's all around wonderful.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love this volume so much for these two characters,
I do
and like the
too.
ending with them on the rooftop, making plans for the future together, and
Uh,
sharing this dream with one another, and like, oh, so cute.
they just can't wait. I mean, look, they're way too young to get married, but in our modern society, they'd be the middle school couple just in the cafeteria together, like being all lovey-dovey or whatever.
For sure. And yeah, this is very much what I wanted from this volume. I think I said last time something like I wished for them to like get some kind of like boyfriend girlfriend type um dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
which I feel like that's basically where they're at right now. Um and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But is that all on Umar?
Yep.
Then let's talk a bit about Karluk Ahon. He wants to get a lot stronger now after he didn't do so well during the Badan and Halgal invasion. So he's diligently training with a bow, and he's getting good with, crafting arrows, and I'm sure he's improving with the actual bow as well.
It may take a couple months, maybe, well, maybe more than that,
Maybe years, I don't know.
maybe years. I mean, he has the power of adolescency to or adolescence uh to help him. I mean, he's gonna grow like,
Oh, yes.
and not just height, but muscle and things like that. So I think
Hmm.
he'll be fine. And if anything, this is just helping him or ensuring that he will be ready. Uh, come a few more years, but
Hmm.
um, I kind of I regret not mentioning this in the predictions last year because I did have a feeling that it wasn't going to go as planned for
Uh,
him in terms of being able to use the bow. But I didn't see them having a little fight or a little disagreement,
right,
um,
right.
which is completely normal for a couple to have,
Hmm.
especially when he's only 12 and has his pride that he's still trying to uh, save or keep. I don't know, but anyway,
Yeah,
yeah. But like you said, he after that battle, he wanted to become stronger, and he was specifically thinking, at least based on the flashbacks, about I believe Amir's brother Azel. Like those were some of the examples. Although maybe one of them could have been the father.
could be.
Uh, but I know the one who was using the bow was Azel, uh, just based on the clothing or whatever. So
Mm.
I think those two, if not just one, but those two made it gave him an example of some. If I want to be on the same level as Amir, my wife, I gotta be strong like those guys.
Right. And I'm sure by the time he's fully grown, he's going to be, strong and skilled with all these types of things.
Yeah,
And yeah, now they have this beautiful little shared dream about being able to go hunting together one day. And
yeah.
that's very sweet, I think.
Now it was Amir who brought up that goal first.
Yes, yes. But I think they do both share that dream, though.
They do, and I think it was like in the board game narrative that
Yeah, yeah.
that it it depict or it showed that Karluk wanted that as well.
Mm.
Yeah, just touching on Amir real quick, the whole reason that he was having an issue in the first place, I mean, besides not being used to a bow, was that she had strung it for a full-grown man,
Yeah.
and he's just not quite there quite yet. And she
Hmm.
didn't realize that until much later in the volume,
Yeah.
and obviously she's very embarrassed by that. It's like, oh no, I ruined everything. But uh, it's too late to go back now. You would just hurt his pride even more if you were to let's loosen it up a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I can't see that going over very well. At least in a short time period. But
Hmm.
um, no, I mean he'll like we were saying he'll get used to it, and they'll be hunting and shooting together in a few years. So
For sure. By the way, speaking of Karluk and his age, I I'm choosing to think that at this point he has turned 13 because
yeah,
I think it was like 2 volumes ago or so they mentioned that nearly a year had passed.
right.
Um, and so I feel like by now, at the very least, we should have passed the point where he has turned 13. I'm thinking
I
anyway.
agree. I
Um,
agree.
so I'm assuming he's 13, and then Amir would be 21.
Mm. I almost said 13, but then I didn't want to.
Mm.
I didn't want to
I
be
mean,
like,
to
I
be
don't know.
fair, it hasn't been like established properly, so I guess we don't know for sure.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, but I completely agree with you. It's clearly been a year that's passed since the beginning of the story.
Mm.
So
But is that all on Karluk?
yes.
Then let's talk a little bit about Henry Smith next. He and Ali were attacked by bandits who stole their camels, their food, and a lot of stuff. So sadly, they need to
Yeah.
return to the previous town they passed to restock on, well, basically everything now.
Everything. Uh-huh.
So that sucks for them. Um, but Henry said in that scene, he said, "To think I came this far only to suffer the same fate again."
Right.
I didn't really know what to make
Right.
of that. Do you have any ideas?
I I mean, no, other than clearly something happened to him previously, and I think that
Yeah.
I don't think it happened this trip. It must have happened in a previous attempt to get there,
Mm.
or maybe it happened when he was on his way to where the Ahon family live. Maybe he ran into bandits coming the other direction. I don't know. But either
Mm.
way, I feel like that could be something that they touch on later on, especially if she's gonna mention it like that.
Precisely, yeah, it's got to be something. So, yeah, I'll be eagerly awaiting more answers. Then, let's talk next a bit about Talas, since she actually appeared in this volume.
Yeah, what?
Uh, she and her horse made a brief little
Yeah,
appearance,
forgot about her course.
and she said to her horse that they can go wherever they want now. And so, while I am curious to know where she got that freedom from, or how and when she got that type of freedom, because I don't suppose she had quite that freedom when we last saw her.
Hmm.
Um, so maybe her relatives have all died and she's all on her own or something. Or maybe she ran away on her own initiative completely and she's quote unquote free that way. But I mean, obviously it's hard to tell. But something has happened in her life.
Yeah,
Something big.
when I read those eight, I guess 8 panels, I was like, whoa, 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 what is this? What is happening?
Right.
Uh, and it wasn't until my second read through that I just tried to process everything. So she seems to be in the same land that she was before. The topography, I mean, granted, there's not a whole lot of change, but it looks the same.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Um, you also have the tent there and the herd and things like that. So all that seems to be the same.
Hmm.
So it begs the question: how does that make her free, or free to roam, or you could go wherever she wants?
Yeah.
And the only thing I could think of is that her mother-in-law passed away, and thus her liability or her connection to the family is gone. And I guess the brother-in-law, or I forget what his uncle or whatever,
Hmm.
he can't do anything now because of that. And so maybe she's just by herself.
Precisely, something like that. I think makes sense. Either that she died, or he died and she died, or I
Oh
don't know.
wow.
I don't know. But yeah, somehow she's not under the control of anyone, and she seems to be in traveling getup. So she seems to be intent on traveling. It seems like to me.
I guess so. But she's also carrying a herd.
Um,
And then you still have the tent. I don't know. That doesn't seem like something that a one person can do.
that's fair. Yeah, so many questions.
Like it's a bigger tent too. Yeah, so many questions. And on top of all that, she seems so sad. I,
Yeah.
oh gosh, like there's, I mean, she's trying to be cheerful with her horse, but it just, I don't know. To me, I'm fine. She's in fact not fine.
Yeah, no, I agree. I did get that feeling too. And like she's trying to put up a smile, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll have more on her later.
All right. Lovely. Then let's move on and talk a bit about Karluk's grandparents slightly.
Okay.
Balkirch never used her bow once she settled with Mahatbek, according to him. But obviously, he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know that she shot an arrow straight into Amir's father's back. um, but I guess
Touche.
aside from that, and aside from I guess any other instances here or there that may have occurred throughout the years, um, she has not used her bow.
Right.
Because I guess there's simply not much of a reason to go hunting when you have cattle and farming and whatnot to the extent that they have in that village or in that town.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought that was funny in a few little ways.
Yeah.
Then we had well, I actually don't have anything on Azel, but I have a slight little thing on Baimat. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was very nice to see him shine a little bit as a diplomat
Yeah.
and how he was, you know, doing the negotiations and relations building very, very well. And I think he's definitely someone that Azel has, well, a need for in his life. Um, in doing what he's doing, he's not going to be able to do it without Baimat.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
But that's all of the characters from me. So if you have any other characters, shoot.
I think I only have one more, and I just want to give her laurels. Kamola, she's I just love her support for Pariya. We mentioned the bread and
Yeah.
how she was giving great suggestions on how to express herself in different ways, and that led to Pariya speaking with the bread. She basically sets up Pariya's dad moving on with the marriage talks because she praises Pariya for wanting to help her dad. I mean,
Right.
I get the feeling that that was not the real reason she wanted to be. I do call it a crazy hunch. I don't know, uh, but because of Kamala reading it that way, it led to Pariya's dad being very happy for her daughter and saying, you know what, I need to move that on. So
Right.
she has Kamala to thank for that. And then,
Definitely.
as we mentioned, she helps her meet new friends that are all happy to support her. I mean, even one person's like, "Hey, I hate embroidery too. This sucks. Rather be in the kitchen cooking. Am I right?
Uh huh.
Oh my gosh, yes, so much better." So, um, you know, I think Kamala is just this well-meaning, kind person that depending on who you are, I could see getting annoyed. Like, do you hate me? Like, what's going on? It's like, okay, no, don't have to ask all these questions.
Yeah.
Um, but I think she was the right person for Padia to help her, I guess, open up, but also clear misunderstandings and
Yeah.
help her to find new friends.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really glad that we got to see Pariya grow thanks to Kamola in this volume. Um, like actually get clear examples of that type of growth. Um, was beautiful, and I'm expecting, even though we may not see it very clearly in the series as a whole, I expect. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
expecting that Kamola is growing in other ways thanks to being friends with Pariya, but it's just happening kind of behind the scenes. Because I feel like that's kind of the dynamic that they have.
Right. Yeah. I agree. We're just not necessarily seeing it
Hmm.
uh full force, but I definitely think they're helping each other. And she basically says it as well that you have so many strengths that I don't have and I wish I had.
Right.
So I think she is learning that kind of stuff. Uh, I guess quick thing I'll mention is more of a funny thing.
Mm.
When Padia is trying to get Umar to go with her to the water wheel, whatever, she's thinking of ways. Okay, what if I get Kamula to help invite him, and she's worried that they'll instantly fall for each other or whatever.
Right.
So I'm thinking, do you think Umar would instantly fall for Kamala? I mean, I'm sure like you know she's very cute and things like that, but I just well, I guess they hadn't had the trip together yet, obviously, but I don't know. I think what he's looking for in a woman is very specific, and I don't think Kamala matches that.
Exactly. Yeah,
Eh,
I totally think so as well. Yeah, there's no way that he would fall head over heels for for Kamola. She's just not his type.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which meant respect the man for having a type and sticking to it.
Uh-huh.
Although there's nothing wrong with changing your type, your preferences, as we've learned through other manga that we read.
True.
Kaguya-sama Love is War. Um,
Indeed.
but yeah. Anyway, just wanted to mention that and
Absolutely.
give shout out to Kamala.
Very good. All right then. I believe it's time to move on to predictions.
Yes.
So, now with Pariya's friends helping her out with the embroidery dowry,
Mm-hmm.
I reckon it'll be done a whole lot faster than we expected it to be originally. And by now, I think, I think they can get it done in about a year.
Oh no. Oh no.
I think so.
2 years.
With the amount of people that are working on it now, they said that, or they expected Pariya to be able to do it in 4 years.
Yes. So cut that in half.
But there's like 4 people.
Well, I think you have to keep in mind that they're not going to all be working on it 24/7.
That's fair. That's a
They're
fair
going to have their
point.
chores. They have their own embroidery to do. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of scheduling and
True.
things like that. It's going to go much faster,
Mm-mm.
but it's got to be at least 2 years. At least 2 years. Otherwise, they would have mentioned like, oh my gosh, we're going to get this done next year. We got to start planning and things like that. No, 2 years.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that is more realistic. About 2 years.
Now, granted, I could be off entirely, and it could be just next month. Or still 4 years. Who knows? But I do agree with you that I do think it'll be much faster and
Yeah.
less than 4.
Definitely. And I think around or about 2 years is probably reasonable. I believe.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah, and honestly, I hope it does take that long because you had that strong commitment from Umar to wait, and I don't know. I just think it'd be really nice to see that fulfilled.
That's a good point. I like that. Yeah, honestly, yeah. With that in mind, let it take 3 years.
Hey, yeah. Actually, I wouldn't mind that either.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
So, I'm sure we'll check in on these two from time to time, but I think they're just as how we check up on the others. Although I think Pariya being close to Amir, I think we'll see more of her than say the twins or Shireen or things like that.
Uh-huh.
But going to thinking about what's happening next, and obviously Mori likes to kind of give us a clue or indication of what's going to be the focus next. Livestock is going to be the main focus.
Right.
And I think that means, and she basically says that Azel and his tribe, like how they're handling all that. And I mentioned this in the previous discussion that the Ahon's village, they were going to send people to check on oh gosh, what are they called? Not Hannibal.
Halgal.
What are they called? Halgal. That would be quite unfortunate. But yeah, Halgal. That they were going to send people to check on them.
Yeah.
And I was also thought it would be neat if somehow they sent Karluk and Amir and maybe some other people to go up there, and that'd be a great way to kind of bring in the story, but keep Amir in. I mean, she hasn't stopped her from going back and forth between settings, of course, but I think it'd be nice to have Amir there in her home village.
Definitely.
And just have that there, but maybe it's too soon since the events of the battle for that to occur.
I wonder, yeah.
But I would like that to happen eventually. So that's my prediction, that we will see the Azel family in that event, or the Azel clan, and then eventually Amir will be there with Karluk to just check up on them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to throw another prediction in real quick because it has to do with this. Is that I think we'll finally meet Azel's family, because he has a family.
Yes.
And I think this is the perfect opportunity if you're going to talk about the Halgal and their issues with livestock and things like that. I think bringing in his family is just as key to all that.
Yeah, that would be lovely. And I think it makes a lot of sense for that to come up, because supposedly the Halgal clan is going to invite these elders from that other village that they were negotiating with.
Right.
So
right.
it's going to, well, assuming we'll see that take place, which I'm
Uh-huh.
hoping that we will, then it will be,
Yeah.
at the homes of the Halgal, and then there's a good chance we'll see the families.
Yeah. I agree.
So that would be very nice. But yeah, we basically know from the afterword that Azel's group will be in the next volume, Amir and Karluk will be, and Smith will be.
Yeah.
And speaking of Smith, I kind of have a contradicting thing with him right now, or
Oh.
prediction or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. So basically that, well, I'm expecting him to reunite with Talas somehow.
That has to
Uh,
happen eventually. Yes.
right. And I was thinking initially like, oh, so the fact that they have to backtrack now, kind of go back to a part of the way that they came, might
Mm-hmm.
mean that their paths could cross thanks to that, perhaps. But then again, I feel like they've already gotten so far on their way already that going back that little piece of the way might not get them close enough to where Talaz is that their paths would cross here.
No,
So,
I don't think so.
right. So like realistically, they probably won't cross paths kind of now here. But yeah, further down the line it's got to happen, but probably not next volume, sadly.
Yeah. No, I agree. Oh gosh, I'm just so curious about Talos.
Yeah.
Um, like that is such a interesting little tease that we got there. But my thing with Mr. Smith is, or my prediction, I guess, is that they'll work to replace the stuff. I don't know how difficult that's going to be, but they'll try to replace the stuff in the previous village, and then they set on the journey again.
Hmm.
But a little thought I had, I wrote down here that maybe he finds his watch back in town because we know someone
Oh.
picked it up. Now, I had previously speculated that, oh, maybe this indication that there's a British man among them, and the Russians or somebody will find out and get all upset about spies or whatever. But I'm not putting that suspicion to rest. But I think what's more likely is that someone decided to sell it to get a profit off of it, and then it just ended up in some vendor somehow, and
Mm.
maybe it just ended up in that village, and he sees it, and whether he buys it or not, I think that will make him think about Talus,
Oh yeah.
and
Right.
I think it will just make him maybe spur him. Obviously, he wouldn't leave because he's got to get to the meeting point, but maybe it will put a fire under him. It's like once I'm done with this, I am running back to her. I'm gonna figure things out,
Yeah.
and then they live happily ever after.
Right. No, but I really
Yeah.
like the idea of like something positive coming out of this little tragedy that he's just gone through.
Right.
Um, that would be very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Talis, I feel like we got to get a chapter explaining what happened to her. And I don't think we need Smith there in order for that to happen. Maybe there's kind of this looking at the same night sky type chapter, very cliche, but you know,
Well,
we go through his day through half the chapter, and then we transition to her day, as they both stare into the sky or whatever.
yeah.
And maybe the watch kind of helps spur that in for Smith or something like that.
Hmm.
I think I do remember previously saying that maybe Talis would find the watch, and that's still that, honestly that's probably more likely considering where the watch was found. So it's
Right.
probably sold around there closer. Uh,
Precisely.
but yeah, that's just my thoughts on that.
Maybe she will go on a journey to kind of chase after Smith, kind of following in their tracks.
Oh my gosh, I would love that.
That
Yes.
would be
Oh, that'd be so
nice.
dangerous.
Yeah, oh,
That'd be
for sure.
so dangerous.
For sure. But I think that would be really exciting.
That'd be so
And
good.
and if it does come to something like that, then obviously, yeah, we're definitely gonna need a
Ah,
kind of a catch up chapter for her
I love it
before
too
that
much. I love it
starts.
too much.
um, but yeah, we're gonna need like a catch up chapter for her as you were suggesting,
Yes.
if that is the
Yes.
the way that it's going to take. But
Uh-huh.
and yeah, I think I would really, really like that. Alternatively, I think I would also like for her situation to remain mystery until they
Okay.
reunite, but I don't like that as much as the idea of her kind of going on her journey to kind of following their steps.
Yeah, no, I mean, I see the appeal of having it be a mystery, kind of just like this dangling carrot in a way. It's like what's actually going on with her and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. It does build mystery, um, but I mean, we got that now, and I think a great way to resolve that would be to give a chapter of her own, and then have her maybe eventually start on a journey. I,
Yeah.
to be honest, I mean, I could see like the end of the chapter being her starting the journey, but I could also see the chapter just maybe be ending with her finding the watch or something like that,
Yeah.
and then you know a few volumes later we get her starting a journey or something like that. But anyway, I hope this means this just a little tease that she puts in there. It means we're gonna see more of Talos in the future.
Definitely. And honestly, I'm going to expect that. I'm going to expect more and more
Uh
kind of
oh,
content with her.
you
Hopefully.
hear that, Modi? Expectations been set.
Because
Don't
it's been like
disappoint.
slowly and slow, like it's been building like ever so slightly for several volumes, like with little
Uh
hints
huh.
that she may return, and now we've been seeing her a little bit 2 volumes in a row, right? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's going in that direction. I feel like. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
I'm stoked for her.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I don't have any more predictions.
I have one more.
All right.
The cat will be named some point 2 volumes later. I don't think it'll have a next volume. I think it'll be volume after that.
Okay, that's very specific.
And the cat's name will be Water Wheel.
Nice.
uh, no, I don't think they'd ever name the cat that. But I'm curious what she names the cat. I have no idea
Yeah,
what it could be.
I wonder.
Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, I guess that's all on that.
Yep.
Lovely. And yeah, I was very happy to hear at the start of the discussion here from you that you also love this volume very much.
Love it.
It was such a good one. And as I said, like it might be my favorite volume so far, maybe. At the very least, it's way up there. And my favorite chapter in it was the board game chapter, which I think was just such a brilliant and creative chapter, and might be also like one of my favorite chapters in the series so far. Um, very very good.
I love this volume, and it is my favorite volume.
Nice.
I I thought that as soon as I read it the first time, and I had the same thought second time. So I think it's pretty solid. Now, not to say that I think volume 7 is when we had the battle, or is it volume 6?
6, I believe.
Oh, it was 6 because 7 was
Anis.
Anise. But I really do love volume 6. It was really fun. Well, fun.
Well, I mean,
Entertaining
yeah.
volume. But this one just has everything I'm looking for in a bride story. Um,
Mm-hmm.
not to say she can't have action. She does it very well. But volume 9 was just very special and a very nice resolve to everything that was being built up. And my favorite chapter from this is I believe it's the same chapter where they kiss under the water wheel, but then they fix the carriage.
Oh yeah.
Um, and he sees her strength and her vitality and just kind of shine in that way. And I just love that. I love that. And I mean, there's a lot of chapters that I could probably have chosen, but I think that one particularly it was such a squee moment. It's so cute.
Yeah, that was the chapter called Makeshift Axle.
Actually, I think they're two separate chapters. So because the chapter ends with the kiss and her passing out, and then the
Right.
next one
Oh
is the
yeah, true. Yeah,
makeshift
the
axle. Uh, but I'll say the makeshift axle one is my favorite though because
mm.
that was what I really liked. I mean, I love the kiss too. That was actually quite
Yeah, I
shocking.
mean the whole home
Uh,
journey was fantastic.
it was. It really was.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Uh,
definitely actually agree with you that this is the best volume so far. Like
it's so
it for
good.
sure is.
So
It for sure is.
good.
And I think I'm gonna probably also say that the board game chapter is my favorite chapter, hands down, so far in the series.
It's also very good. very good chapter, very creative. Honestly, I would love to see that theming even pop up another time. Don't
Yeah.
overdo it, but it would be great to see.
For sure. You're right. Yeah. Just from time to time could be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah. Lovely volume of a lovely series.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess we've said all that we've had to say.
Indeed.
Great. Then, if you enjoy our podcast, please share it with your friends. You'll find links to our social media in the description, and you can support us by rating our show on the podcast platforms and subscribing to our channel, Umami Manga, on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time when we'll talk about Volume 10. Bye-bye!
See you later!
Everybody has an Audi.
Why do you all have an Audi?